Hello and welcome to Lutheran Partner in Global Ministries Transformational Travel webinar featuring our 2027 trip to visit our partners in India. My name is Laura Filey and I'm the program manager here at LPGM, and we are delighted that you are interested in our transformational travel experience. I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Dan Ruth to get us started.
Good morning. I'm Dan Ruth. I'm the executive director here at LPGM. And we're very excited that you are interested in traveling to India with LPGM. We have been doing these trips for many years. We see them as deeply relational and excited to just have more people joining in going and meeting their neighbors all around the world. I want to start a little bit today by just sharing about who Lutheran Partners in Global Ministry is and why you might want to travel with us. So LPGM is an independent pan-Lutheran nonprofit organization. That means that we are not under the banner of any particular Lutheran church body or denomination, but our roots are in the Lutheran Church. Most of our relationships are with ELCA, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America, congregations and individuals, but not exclusively. And you don't have to be ELCA or even Lutheran to participate in these trips. They are really open for everyone, although they are grounded in our understanding of Lutheran theology and the gospel as it's understood by Lutherans. And since 1995, we've been working and walking with global partners to provide resources and opportunities for people at the margins, especially women and girls. I'm going to play a little video next that just shares a little bit about the history of LPGM. Let me pull this up. Sorry, 1 second.
When I think about Lutheran Partners in Global Ministry, from its beginning 25 or more years ago to where we are today and where we're going in the future, one of the first words that comes to my mind is hope. It's a term that recognizes the world as it currently exists, and yet even in the face of that reality, we believe in a God who provides hope, who says that the world can and will be something different.
I would describe to my friends LPGM as an organization that is teaching us how to be a global citizen in the world and what it means to walk alongside other people.
I think of the young women. In too many cultures, women have it way too hard, and LPGM is looking after those women that need that little extra boost and that little extra love.
It all started, of course, with the death of our only son. We were very concerned about how the church would be finished that he had started. An architect came forward and he offered to go finish the church.
This beautiful edifice in Bangui, Central African Republic, was dedicated and named St. Timothy Lutheran. But that was kind of the start of visioning how we might go beyond him. And it came together that we should start an organization.
We get together, build relationships with partners all around the world. Lutherans in India, in Tanzania, people of faith in Guatemala, in Central African Republic. We are committed to our ministry and mission of providing education to people at the margins, particularly women and girls. This is one impactful way that we can make a difference as a community together.
I've been a pastor at Prairie Lutheran Church for 25 years. Gordon Betty came in, talked a little bit, and it lit a spark under and in the hearts of our congregation. And from there, we just connected and sponsored maybe 100 students throughout our congregation.
I see LPGM giving them hope and giving them love and giving them dreams and giving them joy.
We are just thrilled that Lutheran Partners is under good leadership, and we hope that it continues to make a difference in the lives of many people.
To all of you who are partners and individuals who are sponsors and donors, I first of all want to just say thank you. We are part of God's family doing God's work together. So thank you.
So, why do we do these trips? Well, we do them because we know that we are co-creators with God in an ongoing project of healing the world. Um, our Lutheran faith tells us that the world is broken, and that sin is real, and we've made a mess of things. But God has also blessed us with the power to make things better, to work for change, to care for creation that God loves, and for all individuals. And so, this work, these trips are not about service. They're not about going and doing things. They're going and they're crossing boundaries, entering into a different country to meet our neighbors who are doing that work, learn from them, build relationships with them, and then come back transformed in some way, ready to make change in our own community and to be a co-creator in healing our own community. That is what transformational travel is about at LPGM. So LPGM has a vision of the world as the world that we think God is calling us to enact, and the world that could be when our mission is complete. And that we envision a world where relationships transform boundaries and where all people have the resources and the opportunities they need to thrive. So for me, there's a couple key phrases in that relationships are really central to this, to all of the work that LPGM does, but that is also true in these transformational travel trips that we take. That is about building relationships that transform the things that divide us from one another. That's what the transforming boundaries is referring to. And so that we can cross those boundaries that the world has created. And then it's a world where all people have the resources and the opportunities that they need to thrive. How we do that at LPGM is that we provide access to quality education for people at the margins, especially women and girls, those people who have had the least access to quality education historically in their communities. And then we work together with global partners. They're the ones who are actually doing the day-to-day work, and we listen to them, we respond to what we hear, and then we bear witness to the local needs and priorities. So we do that by removing barriers to education and improving the quality of the education that students are receiving, boys and girls, but with a special emphasis on girls. And I'm going to turn it back to Laura to talk about our destination.
Thank you, Dan. So where will we go in February 2027? Well, we are excited to travel back to visit our partner, the Arcot Lutheran Church, and we will be in southern India for the most part. So this slide shows a zoom in of southern India, the state of Tamil Nadu. The trip actually will start in northern India with the opportunity for travelers to join us on some tourist excursions in Delhi and Agra, but the majority of the time will be in southern India. So Chennai, which is up on the coast, up on the right-hand side of that map image, is where we'll start the journey to visit our partners and make our way south into the state of Tamil Nadu. India is the most populous country in the world, and you will see that when you're there. There's a lot of people everywhere, and there's a lot of movement and excitement and energy, and it can be really energizing to see how this culture comes together and how these communities come together, because there's so many people, more people than I've ever seen before in my life. It is a very diverse country. It's huge, many languages, many cultural differences, many religions, different languages, dialects. But again, we'll be spending most of our time in the southern state of Tamil Nadu. And Tamil, an interesting fact about that, it's the language that's spoken in Tamil Nadu. It is one of the longest surviving classical languages, and it's challenging to speak, I will say, but don't worry, English is the official language of India, and so English is spoken in many places, and we have wonderful translators as well. A very quick note just about where we're going, because people think southern India, what's the temperature and things like that. It is 60s to 90s in February, so a bit of a range. strange, but a nice warm getaway if you happen to be residing in a cold climate in February here in the United States. So I'm going to hand it back over to Dan. He's going to talk a little bit about our partner, the Arcot Lutheran Church, and then we'll talk about trip logistics and details. Dan, I think you're on mute.
Thank you. I was on mute. I was just pointing out the beautiful faces that you see on the slide and that you'll get to meet as you visit the schools, the boarding schools of the Arcot Lutheran Church that are owned and operated by the Arcot Lutheran Church, which I'll just refer to from here on out as the ALC. The ALC is an indigenous Dalit-led church body serving those in Tamil Nadu since 1961. So it has roots from Danish missionaries, but has had full independence and has been Indian-led since 1961. Its history goes back longer than that. But Dalit is the preferred term for the people that used to be called untouchable. They are the lowest caste in the caste system. Technically, they're not even a caste. They're sort of the outcasts of the caste system, and historically marginalized, considered unclean. And the Arcot Lutheran Church is made up of Dalit people, led by Dalit people, and just have this beautiful understanding of what Lutheran faith means to them through the experience of being Dalit themselves. And they have a long history of really investing in education, building schools in villages where there have not been schools, offering educational opportunities to boys and girls when those opportunities had previously been few and far between, and really investing in the education of students. So just a few facts as students who may not otherwise receive an education are those that LPGM sponsors support. We have opportunity to sponsor students in the schools that are supported or that are run by the ALC. And in the 30 years of LPGM's existence and more than 25 of working directly with the ALC, we've supported close to 8,000 students through those sponsorships. We have staff who you will get to meet based in Tamil Nadu. They work in the boarding homes themselves and help facilitate the communication between students and their sponsors. And they will sort of be our guides as we travel through southern India as well. And then there are 4 main boarding schools, boarding homes that the ALC runs that we sponsor students in. And we attempt to visit all 4 while we're there. Sometimes the logistics make that a little bit challenging, but they each have sort of their own unique personality and feeling to them. There's one that's all boys, or 2 that are all girls, and the 4th is a mix of boys and girls. And then in addition to the sponsorship in those boarding schools, we also support programs like English Plus, which is an English language learning program, English clubs, a mobile computer lab, and other support for the students and schools in those regions. So what LPGM provides on your trip, I'm going to turn back to Laura again.
Thank you. So if this all sounds interesting so far, what does this program look like and what can you expect from LPGM as the facilitator and the host of your trip? Well, you can expect that you'll have a dedicated staff member who will help arrange all of your in-country logistics. And that's me. And I'll be happy to help you book your flights. The flights are an additional expense, not included in the overall program price. However, I'm happy to help make sure that you have the best routing and that you will align your visit and your trip and your flights in with the rest of the travelers. We host pre-trip meetings. Those are opportunities to come together, learn important travel tips and information, details about the specifics and of the itinerary, as well as meet the other travelers who you'll be with for the duration of the trip. You'll also receive curated reading, video lists, things that you can help with preparing, packing lists. We'll talk about health recommendations. When you are in country, the trip is led by an LPGM transformational travel leader, and they will be with you every step of the way. One of the things that we intentionally focus on in selecting our trip leaders is those who can provide support logistically, but holistically as well. And so the travel leader will lead in-country devotions, reflections, provide support, and help with kind of this concept of meaning making and transformation as you get ready to travel during your trip and when you come home. And then when you come back, you can expect time with LPGM in structured ways and informal and unstructured ways as far as what does reentry look like? What is the meaning we're going to make in all of this? What about connecting with these travelers that I've had a wonderful experience with? Could we have a reunion? Yes, yes, yes. Those are all possible. And those are things that we provide. I want to talk very quickly about kind of the overview of the trip because usually people have questions about that. Maybe Dan, you can go to the next slide and then there'll be some pictures people can see as far as what to expect. But let me just talk a little bit about routing and accommodations because whenever I travel somewhere, I kind of want to know how long is it going to take and what can I expect. So typically for routing from the Midwest, it's a long journey and we're going to make it worth our while and stay for a good long stretch. The dates of the trip are the 9th to the 23rd. That can change ever so slightly depending on routing and flight availability, but that will usually give us a good amount of time to be together. Routing from the Midwest usually will take you through a hub in Europe and then onward into Delhi or Agra for the start of the trip. Accommodations, where will you stay when you're with us? In the beginning and off and on throughout the trip, you can expect to stay in Western style hotels. That would be in the major cities. They're very nice, very lovely. What you would expect here in the US is what you would experience there. When we visit the boarding homes, we'll likely be staying at a guest house on site, on campus at one of the boarding homes, and they're very comfortable accommodations. Food is included in the price of the package, and the food is delicious. You can see a picture in the lower right-hand corner. There are single or double occupancy options. For single occupancy, there might be an additional fee that could apply, but if that's something that you're interested in, we can certainly discuss that. Again, with the meals, they are delicious. We can accommodate various dietary restrictions, whether that be vegetarian or you don't like spicy food. These things all can be addressed while we're preparing for the trip and while the trip is underway. Toilets, a question that most people have. What can I expect if I'm traveling to a new country? There are Western toilets in places where we're staying, but there's also sometimes squat toilets, and we can give you a little tutorial on how all of that works if you need. But I would say in most cases, there are standard flush toilets, very comfortable. The entire experience is very comfortable and kind of in line with what I expected as I had a chance to travel there earlier this year. One final note about in-country logistics as far as transportation. We're with a guided tour or we're with our staff and with LPGM, and we're largely in vans, traveling as a group together. So from the point of our arrival through the entire time, we'll be under the care of either a tour operator or someone who is an LPGM India staff member. I hope that answers some of the questions that you might have bubbling up or surfacing up as we're looking at some of these slides and discussing how this might come together. You can also see on this slide that there's a lot of opportunities to spend time with the students, as Dan mentioned, in the boarding homes, time for visits with sponsored students. We'll have opportunities to serve lunch or play games with the students. And in the bottom center there, it looks like there is a gentleman and we did a little shopping as well. In the bottom left-hand picture, in the reflection of that traveler, you can see she is at the Taj Mahal. And that's one of my favorite pictures from the first part of the trip was having sunglass reflections of the Taj Mahal. Dan, could you go to the next slide, please? Thank you so much. So really, as I mentioned earlier, there is the option to start your trip in Delhi and Agra, and that's inclusive of the timeline that we've given. If you've been to the Taj before, or you're not interested in doing that, you can opt out of that and join us in Chennai a few days later. But the first part of the trip really is more of a landmark and a typical tourist opportunity to see some of the things that we know are on postcards for India and spend some time just really enjoying the Delhi and Agra area. And then there'll be an in-country domestic flight down to Chennai. As I said, there'll be opportunities to visit students in the boarding home, whether you're sponsoring a student or not. If you're not currently sponsoring a student, you're welcome to come. You do not need to have a student that you're sponsoring in order to join us on this trip. You'll have a lot of opportunities to meet a lot of wonderful students and spend time together. Again, we talked about evening reflections, potential to visit interfaith dialogue centers, shopping. There'll be opportunities for worship with the churches that we're partnering with the ALC. And so, yeah, this is just kind of a general overview of the itinerary. And this is subject to change based off of availability and of course the traveler preferences as we kind of build this cohort of 2027 travelers. Next slide, please. Next steps. I'm going to pause here and see if Dan has anything he'd like to add before we wrap up this call.
No, you really get a good sense of very different parts of India when you go to Delhi and Agra, and then down to the south. Similarly, into the U.S., where say Minnesota and the southern part of the U.S. have different cultures. So too in India, there are different cultures in the north and in the south, and it's really fun to be able to see a little bit of some of those different, flavors of India.
Thanks, Dan. So if this all sounds interesting to you, if you have questions as this webinar is concluding and you want to ask those, just please reach out, call our main number. It'll be on the last slide here. You can talk to me. We can answer questions as they come up, certainly talk through anything that you would like to know or any information that has not been covered in today's webinar. But next steps, if you are like, yes, I'm ready to go, you can visit our website, and under our transformational travel page, there's an opportunity to complete your trip registration. There is a live link there, as well as the space to make your deposit to save your spot on the trip. A deposit is $300. That is a non-refundable amount, but it does hold your space to join us in 2027 in India. The balance of the trip is not due until 30 days prior to the trip. The entire trip cost is $2,500 for double occupancy, which does not include airfare. We are having an early bird special until July 9th. So if you are ready to go, please register before maybe the upcoming Independence holiday to secure some cost savings of a trip price of $2,250. But I'm going to have Dan take it to the last slide, I think, here. And this is our contact information. If you have any questions, please, please, please reach out. We would love to answer your questions, make sure you feel comfortable, and that hopefully you make the decision through discernment and reflection and prayer to join us in India in February of 2027. I want to thank you for participating and watching this webinar today, and for your interest in joining us, and for your ongoing support of LPGM and all of our initiatives. May you have a wonderful and blessed day. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.